Hey guys, I think this has gone live. I'm having a lot of issues with my Wi-Fi, and I'm actually in my garden right now. So, I just wanted to come in and show you guys some of what was going on in the garden. These are spring crocus. There are also fall crocus for those of you that don't know. But these are just a few. I don't know how well you can see this on video. But these are just a small patch of what's in bloom right now. I'm not sure how these got here. I think the squirrels must have brought them in because I definitely did not plant these here. And they just kind of, this was the first year they came up. And so I wanted to share these with you. I'm going to walk through the garden and show you some of the things that's in bloom right now here in my Indiana garden. Please ignore the mess. We've had a lot of wind. I don't know if you can hear all the wind going on now, but it's been a really rough winter. So like I said, I'm just going to walk. Hey, maybe I can flip the live video. I did not know that. So I can definitely flip the live video, so that will be better than you guys just looking at the ground. These are a bunch of daffodils, and in the spring this entire front area here is just loaded with daffodils. So it's just a matter of time. Sometimes they've already bloomed by now. This year obviously they're going to be a little bit later, but that's okay. It really has a lot to do with the weather. This is called winter aconite, and it's almost finished for the season, as you can probably tell. But this blooms here in Indiana anytime between late January and now. It has a lovely lemon scent. This is what it actually looks like. It really is a very, very pretty flower, especially when it's in bloom. And it is one of those types of flowers that spread. Up above this is a witch hazel. This is autumn embers. And again, I'm not sure how well this is going to come through on the video, but the little flowers look like that. They almost look like a confetti. And they're absolutely gorgeous. What I love about it is just the time of year that it's just really in bloom when nothing else is. I have our native witch hazel that actually blooms in, I think around November. Most years, late October to late November. And that's really great. Yes, you can make the product called witch hazel out of this plant if you want to. I've never done that. I've thought about it. I just haven't. This is another witch hazel that I'm going to show you, and this one is called Arnolds Promise. This is actually the first one that I ever bought and planted. These are not fast-growing trees, so if you live someplace where you really don't want a large tree, but you would like something that has some pretty flowers and blooms during a time of the year when most other things don't, especially if you're trying to provide for pollinators, then witch hazel really is a great choice. So it has kind of a spreading habitat. I have not really spent a lot of time trying to get this to take a shape and be compact and all of that. I've just kind of let it grow and trimmed it up as necessary. That's kind of my philosophy on gardening, is, you know, kind of let nature do her thing and be involved when necessary, and the rest of the time just let things kind of grow. We're going into the shade garden, and there are a lot of hellebores here. I have hellebore in bloom anywhere from the end of November, clear up sometimes into May. So I do not know all the different varieties that I have here. I've lost the tags over the years. And some of these have seeded down and grown themselves. But these are truly, truly beautiful flowers. So each one kind of unique. And this is one variety. There is another variety over here. And I do have one that actually blooms at Christmas time. It's called the Christmas Rose. And I have to say, it and the triple blooming one, which is not in bloom right now, are probably my favorites, just because of the time of year that the Christmas rose blooms. And then the triple bloom is just gorgeous because I really like plants that have multiple blooms. Working my way on up. I'm trying to be really careful because I've got so many plants compacted close together and planted here that it's hard to walk without stepping on something. So if you've been to my garden, you know that I planted close, hoping for weed control. That has not necessarily turned out quite the way I wanted because the weeds got in anyway. I'm going to try to go in. I've got a real dark one in here that is almost a black. So what I'm trying to do is get my fence open. We have to keep it gated for the pets. And there we go. Trying to see if I can get past all these leaves and stuff and get in here to show you. This is a pretty neglected area of the garden that I just really do let go wild and do its thing, but I did want to show you. This is the Hellebore that I have that is almost black. It really is the darkest one that I know of, and like I said, one of my favorites just because of the dark color. I really like plants that have unusual colors, unusual blooms, scented plants, things that are just not your normal, everyday, run-of-the-mill garden plants. And again, I'm sorry, I've got to make sure I get this gate fastened back right. There we go. Okay, over here, I've got a few more Hellebore to show you. That one's not quite in bloom yet, but it has so many buds on it. I have another one over here that is indeed blooming, and I'll show you. So, and they do start out really tiny. All of mine were in 4-inch pots when I got them. And I potted them out here. And over the years, they've grown. Some have been here since 2004 when we bought the property. And some have been added since, I think, probably 2013 was the last time that I added any. I've got some yellow ones over here by the pond, but they are not in bloom. Just kind of walking the property to see what else is here that I might be able to show you. I think I've got some snowdrops out on the back 40. I'm going to walk that way. Oh, hey, I got some snowdrops here. These usually bloom later, but they're in bloom right now. And they are a different variety than the ones that I have up on the hill. There we go. Trying to get that in focus for you guys so you can actually see it. This is a pretty neglected patch, as you can probably tell, just from all the brush laying down on it. Let me try to pull that back. This started out literally as one pack of, I think it was 6 snowdrop bulbs that I planted. And that has pretty well been forgotten about. Most years I miss seeing the blooms. I guess because I'm thinking they bloom later, and maybe they actually don't. Maybe that was just a fluke. I have my star magnolia here, and it has so many gorgeous buds on it. Of course, it's not in bloom yet, but we're going to walk up here and see if this other snowdrop patch is blooming. None of the fruit trees are in bloom, but it is a little early here for that, so no surprise there. I always try to watch when I walk through here and see, because just like those crocus I showed you at the beginning, squirrels and other wild animals do dig stuff and move it. And you find things that, gosh, I didn't plant that there. You know, it's really all part of it. And I don't mind, in reality. I mean, it's kind of fun to, like I said, just let nature do what nature's going to do and kind of roll with it. So we're almost there. I have 2.5 acres here, so I have stuff spread everywhere, and I can see them in bloom now. Let me see if I can flip the camera. I don't want to get my neighbor's house in the video. So I actually have 2 patches, so guess what? We have some more squirrels up here doing some planting, because I originally only planted the one. And I can tell you, these get larger, at least this variety, because these were not this large in previous years. As you can see, I do let the leaves just fall, and the flowers come right up through them. I think it makes a good winter ground cover, and it adds a lot of organic nutrients back to the ground. The other patch is over here, and this is the patch that I actually planted originally. So, like I said, you can kind of see how large those are. Now, the other ones don't seem to be getting any larger. They seem to be staying smaller. But this variety is definitely getting larger. This one doesn't seem to be spreading as prolifically, but possibly that's because, like I said, the squirrels got in them and moved them. I don't think there's anything else up here. Oh, I did want to tell you, for those of you that have trouble growing lavender, this is a lavender plant that has been here, I don't even know how many years. I've got it on a hill, and I tried raised beds, and the lavender died off anyway. But I put this one on a hill, almost to the top of the hill. I don't know if you can see that little shrub up there, but that shrub is at the top of the hill. And then I have this, I have grass over there, and yucca here. And this lavender is doing great. It's growing, it's thriving, and I've pretty well decided that if I plant any more lavender, I'm going to be doing it on this hill. Another highlight of my winter garden are these shrubs that have color to them. Again, I don't remember the variety of this one. I know it's a proven winner's variety. I can't tell you that much. These are a bunch of bulbs that are going to bloom. I need to get up there and get some tuna. But I have that one, and then I have a juniper up here. I'm going to walk up and show you guys. And not only are they evergreen, which is nice, but they have that splash of color, which looks really nice up against the snow. So, and this one has had some grass grow up in it. But, and here's a tip for you guys. Plant these out. I'm going to try to show you. This is my vegetable garden here. And this is the juniper. Now I do have it in line with some other shrubs, but I have a huge walkway here. Have a lot of room. These do not go up against the foundation of a house. The roots will actually ruin the foundation of your house, so it's really a bad idea to plant right against your house. That also gives a lot of cover for critters, mice, and other critters that you may not want in your house. So if you're going to plant something like this, plant it out away. Give those roots time to spread, room to spread. Give the plant room to grow. You really are going to be happier. And we had to take out a very large juniper from the front of this house when we bought it. And I just want to say, it was a nightmare. You guys really don't want to do this. If you have any there now, if they're not super large, you could try digging them. Ours was, well, clear across the front of the house, so there was no way we could even salvage any of it. It just had to go. But if it's a smaller plant and it's only been there a couple years, you could probably dig it and transplant it. If you're going to do that, if you're going to dig anything large and woody, or even perennials for that matter, the way that I do it is I dig them up, I remove all the soil and put it back in the hole they came out of, and I have a bucket filled with water and a weak solution of fertilizer such as you use for seedlings, and I trim the plant's roots, the exception being if it's a taproot. Do not trim a taproot, but if it's just regular roots, give them a 1/2 inch to 1 inch trim depending on how big they are. Trim off any broken roots, and then submerge that plant in the bucket of water and let it soak. You can leave it for overnight if you need to. I usually leave it just long enough to dig the new hole and get the new hole ready for planting. And then I use some of that water to help water in, because a really important part of transplanting is making sure you water the plants in good. I'm sorry, I'm getting out of breath. It's been a long winter inside. But it's really important to make sure the soil is around the plant roots. Otherwise, you are going to end up with air pockets. And air pockets around plant roots are just not any good. If the soil doesn't settle right, it can cause the plant to die. So, and that's another tip. You can do the exact same thing with these plants that are coming in right now that are bare root. And if you're like me, sometimes I don't get my packages until 5, 6 o'clock at night. So I don't want to go out that late and try to dig a hole and get something planted. So I unbox it. I cut off a 1/2 inch to 1 inch of the roots. Like I said, as long as it's not a taproot. Taproots are on things like dandelions. Dandelion is probably the one you're most common with what the root looks like. And I just put it in a bucket with a weak solution of fertilizer, and I soak it overnight. And then the next day, it's revived from the stress of the shipping, and it's ready to go in the ground. So I hope you've enjoyed the look at the garden. If you guys have any questions, I'm always happy to answer those. Leave them in the comments below or make a new post for them. That's fine. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I hope all of you have a really great day. I'll be watching for comments or questions or whatever you guys have. Thanks. See you guys later.